Hello, MONBC family and friends. Wanted to give you a couple of updates. First of all, this coming Sunday, September the 24th, is the last Sunday to donate school supplies so that we can be a blessing to a local school or schools in our community. You could give physical supplies, or you could give monetary donations. I said it in the last update that a lot of people don't understand that, teachers are taking money out of their pockets. They already don't get paid a whole lot, but they're taking money out of their pockets in order to provide, basic things, pencils, tissue, Clorox wipes, things of that nature. And so if you want to be a blessing through Mount Olive, bring your school supplies, send your school supplies or your monetary donations to us by this coming Sunday so that we can be a blessing to a local school or schools in our community. The second thing is, it is election time. It is election time. I said it in I said it this past Wednesday at the end of Bible study. If my vote did not matter as much, why would they spend so much time trying to stop you and I from voting? If it didn't matter, why would they put voter ID laws in place? Why would they, go through all this trouble to try to stop us from voting? And so it is important that you exercise your right to vote. Make sure you exercise your right to vote, especially if you are registered to vote. If you're registered to vote, exercise that right. I'm registered to vote. And yesterday, I wanted to participate in early voting. I got to the Board of Elections office. She asked me my date of birth. She asked me my name. She asked me my address. And before she could even ask me for my ID, she said, well, you don't have anybody to vote for this time because you don't live in the city. And that's true. My, residence is in the rural part of Nash County, of Rocky Mount. And so she said, you don't have anybody to vote for. She said, you'll vote again in March of next year. And I thought, man, that's crazy. But I wanted to show up because I said, well, maybe I still get to vote for the mayor, but I don't because I don't live in the city. So if you live in the city of Rocky Mount, you can participate in early voting now. If you live in one of the other cities of Nash County or Edgecombe County, Tarboro, Sharpsburg, Nashville, those other towns, you want to exercise your right to vote when early voting starts next month and when early voting starts next month and when the actual November 7th voting election day happens. Now, those of you that are part of our community, our family, but you live in maybe Wilson County or Pitt County or Wake County and things of that nature, it is really basically the same thing. You want to know, when your particular city votes, okay? For instance, if you live in the city of Wilson, your voting day is different from those that live in the town of Elm City or the town of Black Creek, okay? And so you want to know when you vote. For those of you that are in the city of Rocky Mount and you live on the Nash County side, you still can participate in early voting. It ends today at 6 p.m., but if you choose not to go today, next week, September the 25th through the 29th, and October the 2nd through the 6th, you could vote at the Board of Elections office from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in Nashville, North Carolina, at the Ag Center, or you could vote at the Braswell Memorial Library here in Rocky Mount, corner of Grace and Falls Road. I think that's Grace and Falls Road. But anyway, Braswell Memorial Library from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Starting Monday, 8 a.m., 6 p.m., starting Monday, the 25th through the 29th, and then October the 2nd through the 6th. And then on October the 7th, you could vote at one of those two places. You live in the city of Rocky Mount, but you stay on the Nash County side. You could vote on Saturday, October the 7th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Now, if you live in the city of Rocky Mount, but you live on the Edgecombe County side of the city of Rocky Mount, you can vote at the Board of Elections office today until 6 p.m. in Tarboro, North Carolina, or the same dates, September the 25th through the 29th and October the 2nd through the 6th. You can vote at the Board of Elections office in Tarboro or the Edgecombe County DSS that is right here on Fairview Road here in Rocky Mount, but it's the Edgecombe County side. So if you live in the city of Rocky Mount and you live on Nash County side or Edgecombe County side, exercise your right to vote. It is so important. Municipal elections can almost be more important than the presidential elections, than the governor election. Because at the end of the day, if your city council, if our county commissioners, if our mayors, if we don't have the right people in place for them, it really doesn't matter who the governor is. It doesn't matter who the president is, because those people, they're the ones that are making the decisions. So exercise your right to vote. And if you're saying, well, Pastor, I live in Sharpsburg, I live in Elm City, I live in, Nashville. Well, I'm going to talk about your dates at another time. But for city of Rocky Mount folks, Nash County side or Edgecombe County side, exercise your right to vote so that you can so that we can show up in big numbers. Also, don't forget that this time you must have an ID. They call it voter ID, but you must have an ID. So when you show up, if after they ask you your date of birth, your name, your address, then they're going to say, can I see a form of ID? You want to make sure that you have your ID and it matches the address on file. So if at the end of the day, you don't have an ID, you're like, well, I'm too old to drive, so I ain't got no driver's license. That's great. That's fine. You can still go to the North Carolina DMV and get a no-fee ID card. You get an ID with no fee. Okay. You can also, if you don't have an acceptable ID, you can get an ID exception form and a provisional ballot. You want to go ahead and find out how you can get that done if you do not. Most forms of ID, the acceptable forms of ID, North Carolina driver's license, a state ID from the North Carolina DMV, a passport for new voters who registered in North Carolina within 90 days, a driver's license or a non-driver's ID from another state, DC or U.S. territory. I'm sorry, forgive me. I said that your address must match. An address on ID doesn't matter. It's about your photo, not your residence. Let me correct that, y'all. The address on your ID does not matter. It's about your photo, not your residence. So if I see people all the time, they got an ID, but it was at 3 addresses ago. As long as it's not expired and it's yours, that's what they're looking for, okay? North Carolina voter photo ID card issued by a county board of elections. That's going to be available soon. College or university student ID approved by the state board of elections. If you are a voter and you are a seasoned voter, you're 65 years or older, you can actually use an expired form of acceptable ID if it was unexpired on your 65th birthday. So if your ID had not expired on your 65th birthday and you still have it and it's expired now, you can use that. So if you want more information, for those of y'all that are tech savvy, you could go to safevoternc.org. Again, that's safevoternc.org for more information about acceptable forms of ID. And so I just really want to stress the importance of making sure that you and I exercise our right to vote. While I can't, I want to tell everybody that I can, that can. Exercise your right to vote. Let's make sure that people know that we are concerned about our community. I pray that you have a wonderful rest of your day.